Hey guys, here with Trainer Confidential again. How you doing tonight, Donnie?
Doing all right. How you guys doing?
Doing okay. We're doing okay. So we got question and answers again.
Yeah,
Well, I guess they're all over the place on this one.
that's
A
fine.
lot to do with training and a lot to do with nutrition and
Okay.
stuff like that. So we'll start off with the first one. What are the best probiotics?
What are the best probiotics?
I'd say like yogurt, right?
I mean, so and what are we doing? What are the probiotics for? That's the deal.
Yeah,
Are you talking about just for like gut health?
probably gut health. Yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah. I mean, that one's that's a pretty simple one. There's nothing really overly complex about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Would that be like yogurt? I mean, Greek yogurt's
and
great
that's
for
one. Yeah. That's
yeah,
one. A
yeah.
probiotic and stuff. I mean, are they talking like you're gonna take it like in a supplement, or you taking it in?
I imagine food.
Yeah, probably in
Yeah.
food.
As far as what she was thinking, she's interested in diet, so I'm assuming that she means something that has to do with food.
Okay, so like with pro, it's typically when you're talking about probiotics. I mean, you're well, you got enzymes, the whole nine yards. You're not talking about the just the macros, the macros, the micros, and the calories.
Hmm.
Probiotics. I mean, that it's a pretty simple one there. So I mean, I'm kind of
It's
kind
kind
of
of it's kind of a vague
yeah.
question.
I mean,
I don't know anything about the probiotics. I mean,
it's just primarily gut health
yeah,
is what it is,
yeah.
and it's something, and I'm following nutrition pretty close, but unless I'm having an issue, I'm not going to really be thinking about probiotics,
Yeah, yeah,
not
sure,
unless there's something going on. If I'm having some
sure.
problems with digestion and stuff like that, then stuff like it will come up and stuff. It's not something. If somebody comes to me and they want nutritional we're not going to talk about probiotics.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
That makes
That's
sense.
what I'm saying. Okay,
yeah.
it's something that if there's some issues going on and stuff, then you say, okay, let's take a look at your probiotics and let's take a look at your gut health and see what all that stuff is.
Okay,
So yeah,
that makes sense. That makes sense.
that's something that would not come up. That's something that has never come up in a conversation when I'm doing diets for people
Yeah,
is
yeah.
probiotics.
Yeah, because generally, I mean, it's yogurt and it's pretty high in calorie and high in fat and all that kind of stuff anyway. So it's not really going to be in a diet.
Well, no, you got some. No, you got some. I mean, I use carb balance yogurts, and they're
Mhm.
very high in protein, very 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 low in carbs and stuff. I mean, I love yogurt and stuff.
I do too.
So but typically, I don't. I do it because I like it. I don't do it because I'm thinking, well, I want to improve my gut health and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, I think here's a good one. Foods that create energy after a workout that doesn't affect your diet. Uh,
Huh?
yeah. Foods that create energy after a workout that doesn't affect your diet. I mean, my first response would be like oatmeal or something like that because slow digesting carb, it's going to be kicking in and restoring your glycogen after a workout and stuff like that. So, well, that's a weird one. Uh, I mean, that's what I would say on it. I know caffeine is really good to take after a workout in small amounts, like 100 milligrams, just to thin the blood and let the nutrients flow and stuff. But
That wouldn't be a food though. It'd be
wouldn't
like
be a
Uh,
food.
uh,
it'd be a supplement
I
kind.
what I'm thinking is I think we got some folks that are kind of maybe overthinking a little bit. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
think you're right.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's after a workout, I mean, you just want to have a fairly decent balance of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. If anything,
So how much?
maybe initially something a little higher carb base because you want to replenish yourself, and then a meal after that would probably be more protein based because you got to repair the tissue, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, post workout meal to give you energy. Well, you're going to be kind of, you know, if you train hard, you're going to be kind of fried anyway and stuff, you know.
Yep.
And thing about it is this, especially if you've taken a pre-workout before you worked out, before you train, and you're already amped, you're not going to want to take something afterwards to do the same
No.
thing. Now,
No.
you're really going to wreak havoc on your endocrine system. You know what I mean? You got to let that kind of, you just can't be kicking out, you know, adrenaline and stuff all the time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I would say to me, after workout, really, well, you just need a nice balanced meal. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? You know,
Mhm.
decent amount of proteins, carbs, fats. Now, typically, some people, you know, especially if they train really hard, you know, we train pretty hard. You're not really that hungry afterwards. You know what I mean?
No.
Your appetite's kind of, but you know, you gotta have something. You know, so it'd be something light, you know. And I tend, me personally speaking, I just tend to go with a shake. I go
Yeah.
with a protein shake right afterwards. I'm endomorphic, you know what I mean? You know, you could probably do something more like a meal replacement. You need to probably have a combination of proteins and carbs. You know, I tend to do mostly protein. Like I said, I'm an endomorph, slower metabolism, you know, and it just varies from person to person. But as
Mhm.
far as like getting something for post energy, that's not a, you know, that to me that's kind of an awkward question,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. I mean,
This is a nice
when I'm
balanced
done with a
meal.
workout, I have my protein, and I usually throw a cup and a half of rice or oatmeal in my protein
Sure,
shake, and I
yeah,
grind
yeah.
it up, and I'll have that. But I can't eat right after I'm done working out. It's going to be
Yeah,
about an
and
hour.
I don't really have me personally. I can probably eat maybe about 30 minutes to an hour afterwards.
Yeah.
But I know I need something right away because I'm just torn all that tissue down, you
Yeah.
know, and I got a lot of tissue breakdown. So yeah, I take a protein shake is what I do.
Yeah.
And some people, like I said, and that's my metabolism. But people that have faster metabolism and stuff probably want to have a balance of some protein and some carbs, you know, like a meal replacement drink, you
Uh-huh.
know, which has a
Uh-huh.
fairly decent balance of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, or just have, you know, a small meal or something like that. But I don't really think that you need to be taking like
Anything
an energy
specific?
drink or something like that
Yeah.
to, you know. So yeah.
So, how long should a person's workouts be? I'm going to say the average person because it's kind of how long should the workouts be?
So here's the
So
deal.
let's say for
Here's
an average person.
for an average person. So okay, for an average person,
Hmm.
which is just an effective workout. I'm talking, and this is what I mean by this is it's you're going into this thing, you're knowing what you're going to do, you got it all planned out, the whole 9 yards. You go in, you hit it, you're in, you're out, pretty much like we do. It's probably about 40 minutes,
Hmm.
you know. You give yourself an hour, but I give myself an hour, but I train roughly about 45 minutes. I'm actually training, okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you know, me, that's a good time frame for most folks. You
Hmm.
know, now you get people that train, you know, for a few hours and stuff, and I think, you know, and it's a preferential thing at that point. You know, I mean, people are training that long. I think Branch One, I think he put it best when he was in a seminar, and he says, "Look, I can get this done in 40 minutes. I already know this. I can do that, but I like training."
Yeah.
And I remember those days when,
Yeah.
especially when I was younger and when I was a teenager, I would spend 2-3 hours in the gym, you know,
Yeah.
and it was a little late. You know, I kind of, you know, for early, I kind of figured that was a requirement. But you know, as I got later in my teens, I realized, you know, actually you can get this done in a lot less period of time. You know, you just got to condense it and make it harder. You know,
Yeah.
but the thing about it is this. I mean, you know, and it's not even so much ideally. The length of time has a lot to do with preference. You know, you can get this thing done in about 40 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes, you know,
Yeah.
and it depends on what you're doing. If you're doing a total body workout, or you're doing splits, you know, so you got all these other variables that kind of play into it. what are the goals? You know, I mean, are you just trying to just get in shape? Or are you getting ready for a sporting event? You know, you just a weekend warrior, or are you an actual competitor, the whole 9 yards? So
Yeah.
you got all these other variables that are going to determine what that is. But I would say, just right off the top of my head, somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too. Yeah.
30 to 40
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. It's
You
pretty,
know, and
pretty.
that's very little. Well, hey, give yourself an hour, but about 30 to 40 minutes is what you're actually going, because you got to set up equipment and you're going to be doing all this other stuff, you know. But the actual training is probably roughly about 35, 30, 40 minutes. You're actually training. You're
Yeah.
moving something.
So what
Yeah.
about cardio on top of that? Or should you
So
do cardio every time?
so
Good question.
so the way I do it now is I really don't do a lot of cardio in the off season. I don't do any cardio in the off season, because when I go into prep, I go into cardio mode. I mean, I mean, I can get up to 2 hours of cardio, you
Oh,
know,
geez.
and so, you know, but as time goes on, I can retire from competing. Then I'm going to start adding cardio in on a daily basis. I'd like to probably do it daily.
Okay.
Okay.
How
All
much?
right. Because at that point, I'm not doing it to get like super lean. I still want to get lean, but I'm not going to be getting like stage lean. You
Yeah.
know,
You just want to be
stage height.
healthy.
Well, stage height is not the issue. It's street height. Even at 68, 69, it's just the vanity in me. I guess I don't know what that is. But anyway, but with cardio now, I would say, training, the training you can do up to 5, 6 days a week, depending on how you're breaking it down. But let's just say we got a weekend warrior. We just got a person that just wants to get in shape. Probably need to drop about 10, 15 pounds. Let's just put it like that. I can see them training about 3 days a week, physically doing, and maybe doing cardio 3 to 5 days a week.
Okay. That
And
makes sense.
taking 2 days off to where you're not really doing very much of anything, just letting your body just sit back and just recuperate the whole 9 yards, getting ready for the next week. You know,
Makes sense.
that you're somewhere in that neighborhood. And
Yeah.
then it can, and I've seen people, and I know you probably ran into it too, Alan, people that are training much longer than that. But I mean, you look at them, they're looking great, the whole 9 yards. They don't seem like they're overtraining or anything like that. You're like, okay, all right, you seem to have it under control.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it
But
depends what you can get. It's that's up to you to decide when you got to just go off your look.
but by and large, I mean, it's just flesh, it's muscle. You know what I mean? You don't need 2, 3 hours to accomplish what you need to accomplish and stuff. So, like I said, a lot of these people, they do it because they just really enjoy doing it. You
Yeah.
know, and like Brian said, I enjoy doing this. So I will train for 2 hours, an hour and a half, 2 hours. He'll do it. And like you said, he realizes I can do it in less time. Yes, but this is what I want to do.
Yeah. And he can. Okay, here's a good question here. I actually overlooked this one. How do I get big bra?
How do you get big? What?
How do I get big bra?
Big bra.
How do I get big, bra?
Oh, big bra. I was thinking, is this a female wanting to get big boobs? That's what I was thinking. Yeah, big bra. That's what I think. Big bra. So now he wants to. This person wants to get big.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming. Let's just assume that he's probably a hard gainer,
Mm-hmm.
more than likely. You're not going to see a big guy saying, "I want to get big," So,
No.
but so more than likely, this guy's probably a hard gainer and stuff. Okay, so I mean, I mean, there are lots of ways to do it, but there's just some fundamental things that have to be met. As long as whatever you're doing is meeting those fundamentals, it you should be good. Okay, but like I said, it takes three things. Is this intensity, consistency, and time. I mean, we
Yep.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Intensity, consistency, and time. All right. So first of all, he's got to be training. He or she has to be training intense enough to put on size. Okay. If you're in toning mode, for training and stuff, and and not in size mode, you know, you got to be recruiting as many fibers. You got to recruit as many fibers as you can, break them down, feed them, and then that process just repeats itself. You know, so that's the first thing. You got to be training. You got to train intense enough. Meaning he's got to be pulling some decent load. You know, not like powerlifting loads, not like strongman loads, but you got to be pulling some pretty decent loads. You know, so that rep range got to get down a little bit. You just got to recruit those fibers, but you need the volume too. Okay. So the second thing is consistency. You know, I mean, you have to be consistent with this. I mean, the body thrives on rhythm, you know, and the longer it stays in rhythm, you know, then, you know, the better off you're going to be. And that's why I think a lot of competitors now, they're really starting to get it. The ones that don't deviate too much from off season to prep, you know, they kind of still keep that body in a bit of a rhythm, you know, without burning out, you know. They tend to do really well over time, you know, and so that consistency is something that is very, very, very important. And then the last thing, and this is where, you know, a lot of people, they tend to fall, is the time. It takes time.
Yeah.
It varies from person to person, you know.
Yep.
Are you willing to do what you need to do long enough to get the results that you want? You know, it's those three things, you know, and regardless of whether it's conventional training or CrossFit or whatever, you got to have those three things. You know, that if you're covering all those three bases and you give it that time, then the size should come.
Yeah, I think that's people's biggest problem is that time.
It's a time.
I hear a lot of people, man, I've been working out for this long and I haven't gained nothing. You know, what should I do? Should I do something else? And it's like, man, you got to give it time.
but you and I both know the thing about it is this: fitness and this stuff, it manifests from the inside out, not the outside in.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Their bodies are getting all of these telltale signs, letting them know, hey, look, this is happening. Okay, we're moving forward. They're looking for the visual, but the visual is what's going to come last.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just really frustrating sometimes when I can see the telltale signs. I can see the signs that things are moving forward. You know, they're not focusing on that. They're focusing on the other stuff. They're focusing on the visual, and then they quit when their bodies were telling them, "Hey, look, you know, it's happening all that time."
Yeah, you know? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay, let's see here. This is a good question. I like this. Is it better to work out in the morning or the evening? And I
That
got my
depends.
views on this one.
That depends.
It
I mean,
depends, yeah.
you got morning people, you got you got evening people, the whole 9 yards. Me personally, you got to find out what works for you.
Yeah.
Some people
I got to get 4 or 5 meals in to get a good workout.
Yeah, some people morning works for them. I like that mid afternoon is what I like. I like that 2 o'clock. You know, and you're right. I've got a couple meals in. You know, I only need about 2 meals. You know, I got a couple of meals in. All that stuff is already in and stuff. You know, I'm slow to get up in the morning. Dude, it is so hard for me to get up in the morning and stuff.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah. And night and I think, you know, what's making me think the way I'm thinking now about all this is just what I do.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it would probably be different if I had a contract, you know what I mean? And you're getting, you know, 6 figures and stuff like that just to work out, you know, and yeah, it would probably be a little bit different, you know, because I wouldn't have to worry about running a gym and having clients and all this other stuff.
Sure.
You know, so but you know, it's just going to vary from person to person. Right now, mid afternoon is working for me, you know, because, you know, that's when things are the slowest for me and I can take the time, and the gym is fairly empty at that point in time. I can go in and get me a workout and you know, I'm out of there and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's going to vary from person to person. Some people, night's great for them, you know. Night is what works for them and stuff. And I notice when I have my clients, they and a lot of it's based on when they get off work and stuff like that. But clearly, some of them, I mean, there have been times where we had to change appointments and stuff, and it clearly they're much more their workouts are much more efficient, like maybe in the afternoon than it is in the morning.
Okay, yeah,
But they're in the morning because they're
they had
working.
to.
But every now and then, we just have to switch the schedule around. Something's happened, and they can clearly see that. Yeah, wow, I feel much better training at this time than that time. So, but there's no. You're not going to hear me say, "Well, you need to train in the afternoon."
Yeah,
That's not going to happen.
no.
Everybody's different and stuff. So yeah. So the thing
So
about it is this, like I said, it's that trial and error. You just got to find out.
yeah, that's what's
Got
cool
to
about
find
this
out.
game. It's all trial and
And
error.
yeah, and part of that is knowing themselves. And as a matter of fact, anybody listening to this, more than that, they probably already have a general idea of when it's the best time for them to train. I think they have a general idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody knows them better than they do.
It just has to
So
do with
yeah,
energy levels. How's your energy with this workout? How's your energy at
right,
this
yeah,
workout? I mean, that's all it is, really.
yeah, yeah.
As far as the aesthetics behind it, I mean, if you have more energy, you're going to be able to put more into your workout. So aesthetically, you'd be able to get more out of that workout than you would if you didn't have as much energy.
And that's what it's all about, getting
Yeah,
stuff out of the workout. Because the training is what promotes the change. The
yeah,
training is what creates the change, but it's the eating is what fuels the training.
yeah,
So you get
yeah,
that daisy chain effect. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Oh, how do you know how much rest time should be in between sets? I got asked this yesterday, actually. From a kid. He was saying 2 to 3 minutes. He was told 2 to 3 minutes. I said, well, what are you trying to do? Trying to get bigger? You trying to power lift? And I want to get bigger. I would stick to 30 seconds. That's what I would do at the most. Maybe a
And
minute, but
and the thing about it is it's like with us, we're not sitting back and we don't have a stopwatch and stuff, and
no,
but you know when it's time. You
yeah,
know when it's time.
you do
You
know
know,
when it's time.
the thing about it is, and you have this natural training clock, and it's trainers have it too. We tend to we have this internal clock, and what happens is like all my training is like 30-minute intervals. I train every 30 minutes. So, and I've been doing this over the years. So when there is some downtime, I've got to put up something, or we're just having like a brief conversation. My clock is already running, and I know there's a certain point where I'm going to cut that off and say, okay, hey, look, it's time to hit this other set. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so, and so, so when I train, and I train for that 40-minute kind of deal, my clock is set for that.
Mhm.
So I know when I'm done training, when I'm done with a set, I have a pretty good idea of when, okay, I'm still in that zone to where I'm gonna benefit, so I don't have to rush to set stuff up. I mean, I'm expedient about it, but I'm not rushing, because I know that, once I get about 2 to 3 reps into that next set, it's like I never rested. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's something that you're gonna have a feel for. Now, I'm not gonna sit back here and give a number X amount of seconds or anything like that. But you do know that, when you add the cardio in and that VO2 goes up and stuff, that we're probably hitting those sets a little bit sooner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that cardiovascular fitness is up too, and you're recovering faster because of the cardio.
Mhm.
And now, and this is just something I noticed with me, is that I can hit those sets, a little. I can hit them a little quicker. And like when I go into my rest pauses, I don't have to rest as long. I don't know how many seconds I'm really resting. I know it's under 20 seconds or something like that, maybe about 30 seconds, somewhere around in there and stuff. Definitely not a minute, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But on the off season, I'm probably my VO2 is still fairly decent, I'm saying probably maybe about 30, 35, 40 seconds tops,
Mhm.
because I'm setting stuff up. Now, during the course of the rest pause, it's just a few seconds. You know, I mean, just as long as when I feel that heart rate, just my breathing kind of come down just a little bit, you know, because you're not going to be hitting a lot of reps. You know, you're only going to be doing like maybe 2-3 more reps and stuff. You know what I mean? And then you're going to stop, and then, you know, so you have to be fully recovered, you know, but like I said, it's something that they're going to have to get a feel for, you know, because in the more shape, the better shape you get in, you know, the faster you're going to recover, which is the true measure of how fit you are, is how fast your body, how fast you can get that heart rate down, not how high you can get it up, but how fast it comes down. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, that was so, and so as you get it, and as my clients, as you get in better and better shape, you know, I notice that their rest time decreases, you know, because they're getting in better and better shape and stuff.
Huh. I never looked at it like that. Huh.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. No set number or anything like that, but you know, I would say, hey, look, your workout. Let's just put it like this: I don't know how long you'll be resting, but in about 40-45 minutes, that workout should be done completely.
Okay, here's a good one. Here's a good one that you know, I often wonder too. So will lifting weights make a woman bulky? So what I'm assuming that they're talking about, like, does a woman need to do a bunch of chest exercises? I mean, obviously that's fat there, and you'll lose your chest if you.
Right.
So at what point, you know, if you
But
want to
here's the
keep
deal.
your
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. We got to look at this in two ways. Now let's talk about the chest in females. Okay. Right. Yes, you have the mammary gland sitting on top of the chest, but you got the chest muscles just like a guy's chest. Okay, but let's look at the functionality of it. What does the chest what does the chest do? Oh, it does two things. Okay. It pushes things away from you, okay, and allows you to hold on to things. Okay. So yeah, at some point, yeah, you may not look at it necessarily from an aesthetic standpoint, for if we're just talking about just a gen pop female. Well, you are to a certain extent, but we're still looking at the functionality of it. You know, you're still going to be doing those kind of things. You're going to be pushing things open. You're going to be holding on to things. I mean, so you're and so we're talking about what, bench presses and flies. So those accommodate the two basic movement functions of the chest. That's what the chest allows you to do. You still got to think about that, you know.
yeah.
And so yeah, you know, I mean, and you know, that could come in handy. Who knows? You may be in an accident. You may have to push something off of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what those exercises do. They prep you. You know, we look at it from a, you know, being a bodybuilder. I'm not always looking at things, especially when I'm with my clients. I'm not always looking at things from an aesthetic, from a visual standpoint. I'm looking at it from a functional standpoint too. You know, and like I said, the two basic functions of the chest is to push objects away from you and allow you to hold on to objects. And then, well, the incline press is part of the cosmetic aspect of it. Now, but here's the deal, especially when I deal with female competitors. You know, yes, we do benches, but I tend to focus a little bit more on incline presses, because this part of the chest, okay, that's not covered by the mammary glands.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All
You
right.
know, and
Yeah.
as they get leaner, you're going to see more and more of the upper chest. Okay. And so,
Okay.
yeah, I tend to do, especially with my female competitors, I tend to do a little bit more incline and flies, and then flat presses. I do flat presses, you know, because you still got the functional aspect of it, you know, pushing objects away from you and stuff, you know. So, but I do flies and I do incline presses, especially with females.
Okay. Well, I think that answers that question. I think we got time for one more question.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, okay, let me pick a good one here. Oh, I like this one. Because this one, I already know the answer to this. What do you do after you reach your current goal? But ours will never be met.
Well, yeah, it's got to be a continuum,
Yeah.
you know. And the thing, yeah, and the thing about it is that's one thing that I think a lot of people are getting this mindset, and I'm talking about Gen Pop people now. I'm looking at the trainers. I'm looking at my clients and stuff now, and just people in general. Is that some folks, they think that once you get that goal, you can just power it down and stuff, and it's just there. You know what I mean? You don't have to do anything to really maintain it and stuff. Once you reach your goal, you still have to maintain it. It's not going to just stay.
Yeah.
You just can't stop. In order for you to stay in that little area that you're in, that little sweet spot, you have to continue to doing what you're doing. If you don't do that, then you will quickly find that your body will go right back to where it was.
I mean, in my line of thinking, everybody should always have goals. Everybody should have goals, whether you lift weights or not. But you should have goals, because if you don't, then you're comfortable. And to be comfortable in life is not always a good thing. That means you're lazy and you're not, trying to get after something. You're just comfortable where you're at doing nothing. If you create goals, then you conquer those goals, you make more goals. So that you're always moving ahead in that fashion. That's kind of my line of thinking behind that.
Well, to maintain the level of fitness that they're at is a goal in and of itself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you got it, and congrats, fist bump to you. But now you got to keep it.
Now you got to keep
That's
it.
their goal right there. Okay, if there's anything, okay, so we may not make. Okay, all right, you don't necessarily have to make other goals. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But you want to keep what you got, though, right?
Yeah. So
but there's your goal right there.
There's your goal right there.
What you got, and guess how long that's going to take?
Forever.
That's right. It's going to take the rest of your life, And so yeah, that's the to me, that's how I would probably address, present that to especially to a client. I mean, and just let them know. That's not a means to an end. You know what I mean? That's a continuum after that.
Yeah.
You reach your goal, and you got to keep doing this, right?
Yeah.
You just can't stop.
Yeah.
You just, it's just cause and effect. You're looking the way you are now because of what you're doing now, just like you were looking the way you were before because of what you were doing before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that's their deal.
I like that. I like that answer. I like that answer. Well, I think that's it for today. I got a lot more questions, but
sure, we can go through that stuff.
Yeah, we'll hit it up another time.
Yeah, I like to talk some of the gen pop stuff, and just the training in general and stuff, because that's I'm a gym owner and everything and stuff, but still, first and foremost, dude, I'm a trainer.
Yeah.
I am a trainer, and this is what I do. This is what I love to do and stuff.
Well, and it's like, I mean, you get this all the time too, just questions from people that talk to you, and people overthink everything about fitness. It's overthought a lot.
Well, but I can understand some of it, because you got the media out there, and you got infomercials out there. They're hyping all of these training techniques and all of these all these programs and stuff, and then they got to make money, and that's what they're doing, and so yeah, they got to talk about how great it is, and they make it seem like it's almost the magic pill and stuff, the thing. But how many times have we seen this stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we seen all of these infomercials with fitness? You don't see it as much as you used to.
No.
But I remember in the 90s, I mean, goodness gracious, you had just all kinds of, and folks were making money.
Yeah.
They were making money off that stuff, and that's fine, but that's part of it, and so and sometimes it's people try to come across as, and as well as I do, that there's a way to train. There's not the way to train, because there's so many ways you can do this.
Yeah.
But you've had lots of entities out there, lots of folks out there, that were coming across as this is the way to train.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's definitely going to add to it. As a matter of fact, some of the questions I get are the same questions I got back in the 70s.
Really?
Yeah, same questions back in the 70s.
Huh. So you think it just all the propaganda stuff out there just confuses people pretty much, and it's not all propaganda. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't, but they're all trying to sell something, and it confuses the average person. Like, crap.
that Androstene Dion. I mean, that stuff
Yeah.
was selling like hotcakes back out there in the 90s and stuff. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
You know, shoot.
You can
Who's the
buy
guy
that in
that
Walmart now.
who was the guy that was hitting all the home runs back in there? It was between him and was it Sammy Sosa? Sammy Sosa was one, I believe. And this other guy, he played for the Cardinals,
Mhm.
and they were just on a home run spree, both of them and stuff, hitting the long ball and stuff,
Hmm.
and kind of find out, yeah, I guess he was on like Androstene Dion, and everybody was just taking Androstene Dion, and I think with about a year, I think it was like a couple of years, they come to find out they had to pull it from the market because I don't know, they were playing with a few molecules or something like that, that was, I don't know. So, it was interesting. It was
I didn't
interesting.
know that.
Yeah, yeah. And so and you still will. They'll still be. I don't want to go as far as say snake oil, but I mean, stuff that's been the stuff. Believe it or not, some of the old greats have already got a lot of this stuff figured out.
Mm,
And we're not going to have any additional major evolutionary changes in our bodies. You
no.
know what I mean? Our bodies have not changed that much since the 40s.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these principles, that they've been morphed over time and stuff, but a lot of them, like rest pauses, which was the California set a while back, I mean, back in the day, and some of this other stuff, I mean, the stuff still works. I mean, 51 years later, I'm still using it. And the thing about it is this, I'm not really stuck in my ways. If there was better stuff coming out and stuff, I'd be doing it. I
Mhm.
would really be doing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I just don't see anything that's a viable replacement for what we're doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, this has been a thing for a while, and we our bodies don't change, so we're just getting better to learn it. That's all.
You
So,
know?
all right. Well, that's going to be it for tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you, Donnie.
Hey, not a problem,
You
man.
you had a good have a good evening, and
You
we'll
too
talk to
now.
you. We'll talk
All
to you
right,
next time.
Jack.
See you later, Donnie.
All right.